During the intro cutscene to Fallout New Vegas, we find ourselves in a grave, hands bound, and a gun at our head. A man in a fancy suit makes a short speech, fires an even fancier gun, and then darkness. The courier, either by sheer luck or divine intervention, survives that gunshot to the head. But what would have happened to the Mojave Wasteland if Benny had killed the courier in Goodsprings? Let's start with the obvious, which is that several events would still play out the same way. Benny still gets the platinum chip, still heads through Boulder City, betraying the great cons in the process, and still ends up at the Strip. What happens next? We know what Benny's plan was, and he still has Yes Man to do a lot of the behind-the-scenes work. Benny needs to head to the fort to upgrade the Securitrons so we can finally wage war against Mr. House. But Courier 6, he is not. The courier was invited to the fort to meet Caesar. Benny wasn't. He'll have to use a stealth boy to sneak in, and we know from a quest in New Vegas that his attempt was not successful. Benny is captured by the Legion and killed in one way or another. The Legion now has the platinum chip, with no idea what the hell it is. Because Mr. House has no way to get the platinum chip, if he even knows it's with the Legion in the first place, he can never upgrade his Securitron army. He's still an important figure on the Strip, but he is no longer a key player in the battle for the Mojave. That leaves us with the NCR and Caesar's Legion, since the smaller factions like the Brotherhood of Steel, Boomers, and Enclave Remnants are never convinced to join forces with one of the larger factions. A few important people are going to die next. With no knowledge of an assassination plot against President Kimball, the NCR president is taken out by the Legion. Shortly before or after that, Caesar dies because there is no courier to save him. Legate Lanius takes command. He's certainly a brilliant tactician, but he's no Caesar. A primary Legion belief was that Caesar was sent by Mars, the roaming god of war, to save humanity. Legate Lanius wasn't. The Second Battle of Hoover Dam has arrived. Both forces are suffering somewhat on a morale level after the deaths of their leaders, but as the saying goes, the war must go on. The NCR wins the day. Why? They have the numbers, tactics, firepower, and technology. The Legion are no pushovers, but because of the nature of their beliefs being based off of Roman ideologies, they're not really prepared to take on the might of a full-on army, especially with Caesar not being at the helm. As Shoddycast explained in a great video that I'll have linked in the description, with the death of Caesar, all the NCR has to do to win the Mojave is wait. The NCR and the Legion, that's big picture stuff. What happens in Goodsprings or to the think tanks at Big Empty? The small scale shit. Well, I'm glad you asked. The courier isn't able to put together a militia in Goodsprings, so the powder gangers raid the town, take it over, and kill everyone. The Boomers remain isolated and fearful of outsiders. The Brotherhood of Steel don't have someone on the outside helping them, so they also stay on lockdown for the foreseeable future. During the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, Legion attacks Camp Forlorn Hope, which doesn't end well for the NCR soldiers stationed there. The ghouls in Repcon cannot make their way to the basement without a wanderer clearing out the demons. With the great journey coming to a standstill, they eventually make their way out into the wasteland, wandering to whatever settlement will have them. Or, the Nightkin in the basement grow bold and wind up wiping out the Bright Brotherhood for good. Tabitha continues to broadcast atop Black Mountain, growing sadder and sadder without Rhonda's company. The NCR soldiers at Boulder City aren't able to reason with the great cons, which results in a short and decisive conflict between the two groups. The cons die, as do the hostages. The misfits at Camp Golf never get their shit together, so when the Legion attack during the Second Battle of Hoover Dam, most of the NCR stationed there will fall. Outside of the Mojave, at the Sierra Madre Casino, Father Elijah's planned heist never goes into action. He never makes his way to the casino's vault. Dean Domino, Christine Royce, and God and Dog remain trapped in the villa forever. In the Big Empty, the think tanks continue on as they were before the courier arrived, occasionally abducting wastelanders, conducting experiments, waging a somewhat trivial war against Dr. Mobius, and live in isolation out of fear of what might happen if they disable their sonic fence. In Zion Canyon, the battle between the White Legs, Dead Horses, and Sorrow's tribes reaches a boiling point. With no courier to save them, the dead horses and sorrows prove to be no match for the White Legs, who use high-end weapons like brush guns and 12.7mm submachine guns. Joshua Graham also falls in the process, and the legend of the burned man goes out, with many not even knowing it burned on in the first place. Lastly, Ulysses waits patiently at the end of a lonesome road for a courier who will never return to the Divide. If he one day learns of the Courier Six's demise, it seems likely that he would attempt to re-establish a settlement in the Divide. Alright, that's going to do it for this video about what would have happened if Benny had killed the courier in Goodsprings. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything, leave a like. Leave a dislike if you didn't enjoy the video or didn't learn anything. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.